Hi everyone, I'm Alex the Flute Nerd, and today we're going to look at some of my favorite warm-up resources. I've previously talked about why warm-ups are so important to add to your practice routine, but there are so many excellent books and resources out there that it can be really overwhelming trying to figure out where to start. But in this video, we're going to take a closer look at my favorite resources and find out why they made the list. So, let's dive in. We're going to start with the exercise that I use as my very first notes of the day. While this technically isn't a warm-up book, the warming up exercise in Stephen Clark's The Flute Gym has been my favorite way to get started for the day. In this exercise, he gives you a pleasant melody that starts comfortably low and is mostly scalar. It does a great job of establishing the key in the ear and features some gentle intervals that I find really valuable in waking up my air. I particularly like these because he introduces a bit of harmonics in the mix, which are another of my favorite ways to warm up my air, mouth shape, and sound. He also conveniently transposes this melody for you both up and down so you don't have to think too hard if you want to cycle through all of your keys. However, I highly recommend memorizing the melody. It's a great brain workout to try to understand how you're moving about in a particular key, and then trying to transpose it into other keys is even better. As a side note, this book also has lots of other great exercises that I regularly use in my practice. His focus exercise in particular has helped me find so much more core to my sound. Speaking of sound, my second recommendation is another great way to wake up your air and tone. I play one of the 25 Vocalises from Philippe Bernold's La Technique d'Embouchure every day. These are delightfully short and melodic Vocalises that cycle through every key to help get your full range of sound moving. They explore most of the flute's range, but are easy to extend to include higher notes for more advanced players. I like these Vocalises because they are presented in progressive order, so every day I'll move on to the next exercise for a slightly harder warm-up, before eventually cycling back to the beginning after 25 practice days. I have found these to be the quickest way to wake up my sound. As the name suggests, this is a great book for working on your embouchure. As well as the Vocalises, it's also got interval-focused exercises which are perfect for finding that balance between your air speed and direction, exercises to help you play piano, and exercises to work on your attacks. But of course, if we're talking about warming up the sound, I need to mention Moyse's De la Sonorité. This is a classic that every flute player should own. It's full of tone exercises, including the infamous long tones. I like using long tones and his fullness of tone exercises as a way to wake up my air and sound before I start more intentional tone work. And then after warming up, I recommend revisiting long tones and pretty much any of the exercises in this book as part of your more focused tone practice time. Next up is another classic, the Trevor Y practice book. This book is available as 6 individual books or as a satisfyingly massive omnibus. The tone book has some excellent ideas for warming up each register and playing with different tone colors. The technique book includes the aptly named Machiavellian exercises. They are not easy to play or perhaps enjoyable, but they do improve your technique fast. And don't forget the articulation book, which offers some great exercises which are perfect for warming up the tongue. This next resource is the latest addition to my collection, Roderick Seed's 7 Daily Vocalises for the Flute. In this book, he presents 7 different Vocalises that focus on a different aspect of your sound or phrasing. They all feature a gentle warm-up that helps you get into the exercise proper, which I think is such a cool idea. They're all pleasingly melodic and feel like you're playing a real piece of music rather than just a boring exercise. They help you wake up your lip muscles and work on flexibility. I'm particularly fond of Vocalise number 2, Homage à Poulenc, which is great for practicing soft, gentle attacks on high notes. Now that we've woken up our sound, let's have a look at some of my favorites for warming up my fingers and technique. Here is another flute staple, Reichert's 7 Daily Exercises. This gives you 7 different melodic scale patterns that then cycle through every major and minor key around the circle of fifths. They are compact little patterns only 1 or 2 lines long, so I find them a really satisfying way to cycle through my entire circle of fifths in one sitting. Here's a slightly less well-known book of scale exercises, but Maquarre's Book of Daily Exercises is another great one for waking up the fingers. I find these exercises even more melodic in feel than Reichert, and they're equally as short and sweet, only 1 or 2 lines. The melodic nature of these exercises also allows us to focus on the breath and how it connects to our scales. So bring your attention to the air and how it changes throughout the pattern. Paula Robison's warm-up book is another gem. I love that it includes physical exercises as well as finger and sound warm-ups. It's a comprehensive resource that addresses various aspects of playing the flute. I particularly like her singer's warm-up, which takes inspiration from the warm-up that every singer seems to know by heart. The flute and voice share a lot in common, and I like how this stresses that connection. For those of you with limited practice time, I recommend checking out Fit in 15 Minutes. This book is packed full of miniature exercises which are categorized by tone, articulation, or finger exercises. I love that some of these bite-sized exercises include extended techniques like singing and playing and beatboxing. For the more advanced players out there, I highly recommend Paul Edmund Davies' The 28-Day Warm-Up book. The exercises here are divided into 4 categories: sonority, fingers, articulation, and intervals. And he gives you 7 different exercises for each of those. This is essentially a written-out boot camp designed to cycle you through each of the exercises multiple times over the course of 28 days. But be warned, these exercises are not for the faint of heart. They really stretch you out of your comfort zone and are rather involved exercises. Each one cycles through every key and can be up to 20 pages long. So there you have it. Each one of these resources has something unique it offers to my own practice, so I hope you find them helpful too. But they only represent a handful of the many books available. So I encourage you to explore both the resources here and whatever else you come across to find a list of warm-up resources that work best for you. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share widely. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Flute Nerd channel and hit that bell so you get notifications of the latest videos. Happy fluting, friends!